Hello and welcome to 360 Communication, the podcast where we explore how communication shapes, transforms, and boosts the success of organizations. I'm Laura Ramirez, together with Joshua Rinson and Maria Lozano. And today we're diving into the nervous system of any company, organizational communication.
I think about this for a moment. Communication is as essential to a company as the nervous system is to the human body. Without it, it's impossible to organize, define goals, make decisions, or even create an environment where people feel valued. In fact, effective communication can increase productivity by 20% to 25%. But what happens when this system fails?
That's when the so-called communication barriers arise. These are problems that distort or prevent a message from reaching clearly from the sender to the receiver. Experts usually group them into several key categories. First, linguistic barriers. In a globalized world, language differences are an obvious obstacle, especially in companies with international teams. Second, emotional and psychological barriers. A workplace with prejudice, sexism, or racism creates walls that block empathy and honest communication. Third, hierarchical barriers. The more levels there are in a company, the greater the chances of noise and conflicts in communication. And finally, one-way communication, the kind that only goes top-down without allowing feedback, which stifles employee engagement and participation.
And let's not forget the power of what we don't say. Did you know that nonverbal communication, like gestures, posture, or eye contact, accounts for about 65% of the information we transmit? Crossing your arms can be interpreted as defensiveness, while standing tall conveys confidence. The tone and rhythm of our voice can completely change the meaning of a message. Being aware of this is key for our credibility and negotiation skills.
So, how do we break down these barriers and build effective communication bridges? The key isn't in isolated actions, but in a well-designed communication strategy. A strategy is a smart direction that comes from a prior diagnosis to solve concrete problems. And to carry it out, today we have an arsenal of digital tools. Intranets, which centralize access to documents and resources. Collaborative platforms like Trello or Asana, which optimize team workflows. Internal chats and video conferencing, which break distance barriers, especially for remote teams. And increasingly, mobile apps and internal social networks, which keep everyone connected, especially frontline workers who aren't at a desk.
Now, let's think about how information flows. It's not just one way. Communication has multiple directions. Downward, this transmits orders, guidelines, and company culture, from management to employees. Upward, flowing from employees to management. It's vital for feedback, innovation, and participation in decision-making. Horizontal, among colleagues at the same level to coordinate tasks and solve problems quickly.
These flows can be formal, established by the company through manuals and protocols, or informal, like rumors that arise spontaneously. Both are crucial to understand the real pulse of the organization. Everything we've discussed leads us to a central point, the role of leadership. An effective leader is much more than a manager who plans and controls. They're someone who inspires, motivates, and aligns people toward a shared vision. Their main tool is, without a doubt, communication. A good leader knows how to listen, builds trust, and above all, is consistent. A contradictory message between what is said and what is done can create anxiety and distrust. The expectations a leader projects onto their team can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, for better or worse.
That's why change management and conflict resolution are essential leadership tasks. Understanding that conflict isn't always negative is key. The right level of tension can foster creativity and quick team responses, while the absence of conflict can lead to complacency. The leader's challenge isn't to avoid conflict, but to manage it constructively.
To sum up, building strong organizational communication is ongoing work that requires overcoming barriers, designing smart strategies with the right tools, and, most importantly, conscious and human leadership. When communication flows, organizations don't just function, they thrive. They create an environment where everyone feels part of something bigger, committed to a common goal.
Thanks Thanks for joining us on this episode of 360 Communication. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye.